কথা বলেন না।
Okay, Rika, you may start the session.
Okay, this is time to start our today's session. Just I want to welcome to all our today's attendance, our honorable welcome speaker to respected presenter and our moderator, our chairperson of today's session, Dr. Rita from Mexico, our honorable continental director of North America, and our today's all of attendance. Welcome to all. Just I'd like to request today's session, dear today's moderator, Lika Bayashvili, our dedicated person, our active person in Zen from the opening of Zen, Lika Bayashvili, Global IT Executive from Georgia. Dear Lika, please over to you. You can start now.
Nice to meet you all. Greetings, everyone. Today, I am moderator of this session, Change Management Practices. I want to welcome to our eminent speakers and our attendees. We really appreciate you taking time and participate in this webinar. I can open this webinar. I will announce the first speaker, who is from Canada, Edward Proby Mondel. He is from Canada. He holds a Master of Business Administration from Southern Adventist University, USA. He has 20 years of professional experience as an academic researcher, trainer, coach, and consultant. He taught as an academic.
Hello, sorry for interrupt, dear Lika. I have sent you schedule. Please follow the schedule. This is time to welcome speech from our accounting coordinator. Please see schedule. I can resend you in WhatsApp. This is time
Yes.
to welcome speech. Welcome speech, please.
Yes, I will check.
This is time to welcome speech.
Yes, okay. I think everybody knows that we are at the session of change management practices.
No problem. Please give to floor our today's welcome speaker, Laxman Sheshto. You can give welcome speaker.
Yes, and Edward Proby Mondel asked for me to be the first speaker at this session, and I wanted to okay, sorry. Opening remarks is Laxman Shreser, Nepal coordinator of GAN, and the opening remarks will be, the floor is for him.
Good morning in some parts of the world. Good afternoon and good evening as well. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, and all other who are observing this webinar from different parts of the world in online platform. It's me, Laxman Shrestha, country coordinator of Global Education Network, GEN, and I'm attending this webinar from Kathmandu, Nepal. I'm pleased to welcome you to the webinar on change management practices. This is a part of series of online consultation designed by the Global Education Network, GEN. In this virtual conference room, I recognize some familiar names of participants from governments, non-government, educationists, social workers, the private sector, and major groups. You have all worked tirelessly on the innovation and changes of the world through education. I'm sure we are also reaching out to many new GEN friends, participants, technologists, innovators, education professionals, and civil society representatives. A warm welcome to you all, dear colleagues. We all understand the importance of education, which is directly or indirectly connected with the life of our universe. Dynamic qualities and changes in our day-to-day lives are transforming the world. This is an important agenda, but also a vast one, and time available to us is limited. But we can solve the problem and achieve the goal by working together. Your input and suggestions are much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that by participating in this webinar, we are in the right place and at the right time here. Together, let us accelerate the exchange of ideas and scaling up good practices. I'd like to welcome Dr. Rita Gonzalez, Coordinator Director, Edward Proibir Mondal, Global Executive Leader, Bon Eric Tanduk, Global Education Network Canada Coordinator, Lika Payasvili, Global IT Executive, and Mohiddin Buyan, Founder and Organizer of Global Education Network, GEN. All distinguished and valued participants, I wish you all a very successful webinar. And I like to welcome you all and wish a great congratulations for being with us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lakshman Shweta, for your valuable words and opening our session. And let me to the keynote presentation from one Eric Tender, who is from Canada, and he is very famous in our global network. And let's the floor to one Eric Tender. Please.
Thank you very much, Madam Lika.
Lika.
Okay, start to Lika.
Yes.
Change management practices. Okay, so this is a little bit our topic. So what is change management? Change management has become one of the most critical success factors for any business in today's ever-changing world. The business actually, not only in business, even in educational system, is changing at a fast pace. Particularly, of course, in a business, as my background is customer service, so I've seen a lot of changes, technological evolution, customer trends are changing, new market regulations are being launched on a regular basis, and businesses have to cope with unprecedented global crisis, particularly even the first world nations, just like Canada, experiencing recession. Studies indicate that companies that can't adapt and grab growth opportunities are likely to be outcompeted by competitors and even disappear. That's why preparing for change should be one of our top priorities. So let's go to change management practices. First, I would like to say thank you to our founder for giving me the opportunity to be one of the facilitator alongside Edward Belmonder, sir, also from Canada. And of course, thank you, Laxman, and thank you, Dr. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez, as well as to our moderator, Lika. Ma'am, thank you very much. What is change management, by the way? Well, the definition of change management is a systematic approach that includes dealing with the transition or transformation of goals or values, processes, or technologies. What is the purpose of change management? Well, keep it simple. Number one, successfully implement strategies and methods for effecting change. And the second one, help people to accept and adapt to change. While change is inevitable and imperative, there are still people who doesn't want change. Why is that? People are resistant to change. Research said 62% of employees don't like leaving their comfort zone. I believe most of you here are not comfortable if there's a change in educational management, in your business management, because we are not comfortable leaving our comfort zone. What are the reasons why 62%, according to the research, don't like change? Well, number one, fear. What is the effect on a status quo? They have this fear, discomfort, because they will think, oh, I will not do what I am doing anymore. They are discomfort. Now, there are also questions, right? If there's a change in the management, probably change in the system. Questions like, are they going to keep me? So that is the research, ladies and gentlemen. 62% of employees don't like leaving their comfort zone. That means less than half, or 38% of employees, like to leave their comfort zone. These people or employers are excited to change. They want change. So they're very much excited. And if your employees like that change, this will lead to happiness and satisfaction, which will going to result to greater employee productivity. So as a managers and leaders, it's our duty and responsibility to convert that 62% who doesn't want change to adapt to change. That's why there is change management practices. Now let's go to the common examples when change management is needed, so that we will going to convert that 62% that doesn't want change. Number one, common examples, implementation of new technology. I've been into customer service for more than 20 years, aside from educational sector, and lots of changes in technology create discomfort to employees. One time when I was in New York in 2017, I saw this chaos wherein the self-checkout, you can order in this McDonald's restaurant. I've seen this purse in New York purse. You can order it. And McDonald's is the first one to implement this change in technology. So you don't need to go to the counter, order to the person anymore. You can order it into the machine. And then eventually it evolved. Now in Canada, we already have that kind of ordering, even in Walmart. So see, change of technology. Another common example is the mergers and acquisitions. When I came here in Canada, my first employer sold his company to my second employer. And then the second employer sold it to the third employer. So because of mergers and acquisition, that leads to change in leadership. Change in leadership is very discomfort to employees as well, right? Particularly if the leader, you want that leader, and then that leader maybe retired or changed, or he got transferred to another location, then there will be a change in leadership and employees will become discomfort. Another common example where there is change management is change in organizational culture. And this is what employees don't like. You don't want to change in organizational culture. Of course, another example where change management is needed is time of a crisis, right? Let's say recession in Canada, we have to remove some employees because of budget. Let's discuss briefly what is the three types of organizational change. Okay? Number one is developmental change, transitional change, and transformational change. So what is developmental change? Any organizational change that improves and optimizes on previously established processes, strategies, and procedure. So that is developmental change. It has something to do with procedure. Number two, transitional change, change that moves on organization from its current state to a new state in order to solve a problem such as merger and acquisition. That is transitional change. Last one is transformational change. What is that? Change that radically and fundamentally alters the culture, the values, and operation. That are the three types of change. Now, what can we do? What are some of the management practices, best practices, to be able to help our employees adapt to change? Right? Number one, of course, is define the goals in a timely manner. Help to define the goal, why there is change. Number two, there should be no poor leadership, because if there's poor leadership, then it's difficult to facilitate that change. Number three, you should identify the resources needed to make change a success. 4, eliminate fear in conflicts. So leaders should be the one to eliminate that fear in conflict. Actually, almost 30% said poor communication is one reason why a project will fail. So there should be good communication in a workplace. And then aligning the team with the new strategy. So those are some change management practices that we need to do. We have a second facilitator, and I believe he will going to discuss more about the management practices. So again, today we discuss what is the change management. We define it. We also define and see how many, the ratio, 62% from 38%, the ratio of people who doesn't want change. As well as we discuss the 3 changes in an organization. And lastly, I recommended some change management practices, which I believe my co-facilitator will supplement more when it's time for him to speak. Thank you very much. That's my take on this topic. Very nice topic, which is very, very prevalent and it's really exists. So my name is Bon Eric Tando. I will cut my talk to give way to my co-facilitator, Sir Mondel Sir, and also allow me to leave early because it's almost 8 o'clock here and it's time for me to go to and report to my work. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much for your great speech. It was really interesting, as always. It is your speech. Thank you once again. Your good words to today's session. Now I want to invite Edward Mondel. As the previous time I have read that he is from Canada. He holds a Master Business Administration from Southern Adventist University, USA. He has nearly 20 years of professional experience as an academic researcher, trainer, coach, and consultant. He taught as an academic at several universities in Bangladesh, India, and Canada. He is a chapter president of GARA, Global Academic Research Academy Canada. He regularly presents keynote speeches to several universities and research organizations. He taught as a sessional instructor Professor at Mohive University in 2011, coordinator of CDI College Canada in 2010-2011. Now, the floor is for Edward Plovier-Mondal, please.
Hello, I'm humbled and it's my honor and privilege to share some thoughts on change management practices. So I'd like to thank you, the organizer, Global Education Network chairperson, Dr. Gonzalez, and also the co-facilitator, the co-facilitator, and so the other person, those who are involved, also the moderator here, and Jen Nepal coordinator, and of course the founder, Mohiuddin. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to share with you the change management practices. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I will be, yes, so already Brother Ron Eric Tendok has already shared the change management practices, his thoughts. Thank you very much. He's a great speaker and great leader. Thank you, Brother Juan, for sharing those important points on change management practices. Now, I will be sharing with you as a change management practitioner. I do consultancy services with government here, also public and private institute here. So I will also share some case study or some experience with the change management practices. So, but our focus should be, because as I know, our focus should be on education leaders' perspective, right? Why we need change? The two perspective, right? Two focus area. One is individual perspective, because all of you are leader, and also your educator. I understand most of you also here are educators, and also there might be some other persons, but we'll be focusing on education industry and how the change management practices are important for this education sector. Now, the first thing that I'd like to share with you is it says change before you have to. So Jack Welch says that change before you have to. So it's very important. The another quote is said that change means that what was before wasn't perfect. People want things to be better. We always try to be better, and this is why we need change, by Esther Tyson. And Peterson says that people don't resist change, they resist being changed. So this is the different perspective that how you look at it. So he that will not apply new remedies must expect new evils. For time it is the greatest innovator. Francis Bacon says. So it's important that we need to look into the change. Now here, already Brother Von share what is change management. The change management defined as the methods and manner in which company describe implement change within both internal and external processes. So what we understand, because here is more on organizational perspective. So in organizational perspective, we also need to first we need to focus the internal processes, understand the external processes. So what it involves actually supporting or preparing employees, establishing necessary steps for change, and monitoring pre and post change activities ensure successful implementations. So this is a process. We need to understand the process, how the process work here. Now, yes, Brother Von also shared with us resistance of change. But here, why there is a resistance to change? The reasons here, mistrust of lack of confidence. So here said, in organizations, we see that we have an issue of mistrust, emotional responses, fear of failure, poor communications and unrealistic timeline. Sometimes the managers, I see that they might come with unrealistic timelines because the supervisor of manager or the CEO or the director or someone on top just says something and they are providing unrealistic timelines for their co-worker or for their subordinates. So there is a resistance for change. So we'll share some experience later, but what is the context of leading change? We need to understand the context here. So you are here in the middle and see the change practices, impact and readiness. As I said, what I always see change is like an individual perspective and organizational perspective. And in a broader area, the stakeholder engagement and communication and project and program. So this is you see there are different area, the context. One is the individual change, organizational change. We have say stakeholders engagement and communications and project and program. So you can see that how things are related. We need to understand the process. Now what the research says here, failure rates of change initiative. We have tried so many changes. I work with UN organizations, ILO, and their Ministry of Commerce. I see there's failure rate for change initiative. They want to implement something, but fails. Most particularly, where change achieved substantially less than expected value have been reported at 70 to 80%. It was a study done by Kings and Peterson was on the book I wrote in 2007. However, few top organizations experience success rate excess 80%. So IBM is an example here. Now, the variable criteria and measures typically used to these studies make it difficult to draw definitive conclusions about the failure rates and their causes. Now, what is happening is that those evidences of CEO, project and change manager through a wide range of sources does point to the reality that very many change efforts do fail. That means we understand these change fail. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change by the Charles Darwin. Contributing to the change. So in an organization, we can see company effective at all three levels of senior, mid-level, or front line, capture about 143% of the expected value. So undeniable correlations here between the project performance, maturity level, and change management. The majority and best performing and most mature organizations always or frequently apply change management to their projects. So change is very important here, and you can see that how change management are affecting the organizations. Now, what are the key activities here we need to understand? The key activities are prepared by gaining deep, realistic insight into the complexity of change and plan accordingly. So whoever you are, if you are involved in change management, you need to understand deeply. Use a robust change methodology aligned with the project management methodology. Build and apply skills in sponsor and change management, empowered staff, and invest appropriately in change management. So it's very important. They are found that success rate of change project using dedicated change management roles 19% compared to those. So it's important that you need to be aware. So the awareness is very important. Now here, what are the other things that? So there is a close relationship between effectiveness and change management programs and proportion of project meetings and exceeding objectives. Those change management program rated good or excellent had about 80% success rate. And those that are poor and fair achieved less than 50%. Now, change management delivered improved adoption speed, utilization rate, and employee proficiency, importance, effective preparation for change, discipline management, and clear reinforcement and careful handover. Now, the audience that you are in right now, I guess most of you are educators. This is more on organizational perspective. I'm not sure whether is there any administrators are there, those who are dealing with employees and your schools, your universities, or your colleges. So you can understand the implications what we are right now discussing. So for individual perspective is different, but in organizational perspective, there should be a leadership role, or there should be you should be involved in the change management practices. Now, the 6 to 9 months of the project launch, projects will change management input while delivering significant performance improvement, financial result, and behavioral change. Now here, so the need for organization executive leaderships or local group relevant to localized change to define and understand deeply. So as we already shared with you, is we need to understand deeply the nature and impact of proposed change, the organization capacity, capability to understand it. That means whether we are able to do it or not. So for example, in school, whether right we are implement the particular task or not, or particular activity or particular change or not. I remember when I was many years back when the computer came and the typewriters were just obsolete. People were they were training the IT, the information technology, the computers, and people were fearing for their jobs. And there is a resistance for change. I remember is a great resistance. People are not willing to adopt new changes on the computer systems. And I was one of those first trainer when first computer came, and even the Windows mode was not there. I was training a government official. It was my task, and it was interesting how people were resistance for change. Now here we should be connected. One of the things is strongly connected change through variety of communication practices. Very important. The communication is very important in change management practices. The way the change and project management practices are aligned, managed, and matching them, the size of structure of the organization. Now, how individuals and teams can be supported through change by good leadership, appropriate training, and great facilitation. I remember when I used to work with the UNFPA, an organizations for training parliamentarian, 300 parliamentarian, one of the things. So one of the things is support through change by good leadership. If you have a good leadership, you can achieve one thing. So when we are dealing with women health and reproductive health in Bangladesh, the projects we are training or we are teaching the parliamentarians so that they're the lawmakers. So they're the policy maker. So they need to have that perspective. So what we do, we are bringing the good leaders, and when the new changes are come, like when we're creating awareness for the women health and everything, so we need to provide a good leader. We need to show them how the change can be, change is important. Appropriate training is needed. Great facilitation is needed. Brother Vaughn is a great facilitator, right? See, we need great facilitator. We need great coach, great leaders. Uh, Advocacy of best practices across the organization, supported by effective information gathering, relevance case studies, and application of lesson learned for past change initiative. Which of the 5 factors do you find the most challenging when leading and managing changes? Now here, one is dealing with individual reactions to change. As I said, emotional intelligence is emotional reactions here. Selecting strategies to manage organization change, developing appropriate communication to engage stakeholders, and assessing the impact of change and aligning system to sustain change. So these are the 5 factors challenging for leading and managing change. Now here, learning for individual learner, and I think it's very important for us to understand the individual learner's perspective, that how we learn, because change for us, I think in this particular scenario, what we are learning today is very focus on this slide where you are learning. All personal change involve unlearning old way of behaving and learning new ones. Unlearning is very important. So I remember I had a professor who has to have the notes for years after years, and he didn't change the note. Like he's always telling the same thing, and we're making fun, and we're just telling about the. I had another professor, I remember, every single day he is doing research and he's getting a current and up-to-date information, and he is sharing with us the stories, what is happening, what is the research is done in recent days. So this is very important, and we need to unlearn the old ways. Like if we need to adapt as a teacher or as an instructor, as a professor, we need to unlearn. As a result, it is helpful to have old have way to looking at the learning process and how different peoples like to learn. Cole described the cyclical process of adult learning of Honey Mumford observed in different learning style. This is very important slide for all of us. I think many of you already gone through it, but those who didn't, just focus on this one. Now, how we learn here, you can see the first one, someone with preference of this stage, concrete experience. That means something happens. So concrete experience is described as an activist. On the other side, we can see reflective observations. You think about it, reflective observation, and he is a reflector. An abstract conceptualization is you identify a pattern. That means that you're a theorist. And practical experimentation, you test your theory, and which is a pragmatist. So this is the learning styles that how we learn. And as we go through this one, we see that how we bringing or are we adapting the changes. The reason for change is very important. Why we change, if you don't know, then it's very difficult. I had a chance to do a program in a coastal area in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh while staying here actually a couple of years back. One of the local non-profit organizations in Chattogram in Bangladesh with the 2000 fishermen. They were having health issues. So there is a study, and then we figured out there is a medical waste products dumped in the ocean. And when they are fishing, and when they're using the fishing nets, there is chemicals, and also there's needles, and they're getting poked by needles, and they're getting sick because of all those chemical waste products. So we developed an ocean literacy program, and that ocean literacy program is training, coaching the those fishermen, those who don't have resources. And ultimately, what happened? The change happened. The real life change happened. Very interestingly enough, that example, that project that I was core lead consultant, I implemented here in Vancouver, Canada, where a First Nation community dealing with the same situation. So Bangladesh is a country where there is a lot of disasters are happening. So is the leader. So one of the case in Bangladesh is used here in Vancouver. So it's very interesting, the success story, the change, how it is implemented in different parts of the world. The change in market demand, it is also important. Change technology and social changes and failure. If you're failure, you need change. If your social changes are there, you need changes. Change technology. If technologies come, computer comes, you need change. Change is market demand. There's the market demand. Like Apple is launching new product. What is happening? And then is Android, like lots of new technologies are coming. So what is happening? So this is the reason for change. Competition, competitive innovation, cost cutting, and merger and acquisition, change in the business structure and end of life products. So I think some of them may not be relevant to you, but in the education sector, you need to understand what is important for you and why there is a reason for you to change. I started my career as an university instructor, where I learned different tools and techniques, innovative education tools and techniques to teaching. I was also involved in case studies. I worked with the European Commissions with the case studies. Now here, as like an instructor, educators, the challenges is like the challenge is that there are tools and available, but which tools to use, and right, how do you adapt to these changes, right? There are the other instructors or other teachers are using those tools and techniques. So how do you now it is important do this assessment and practice and do repeat again and again. So it's very important for educators and instructor. Now change management models is here. Is said unfreeze, change, and refreeze. It's called living change management model. We can say unfreeze, which is preparing the desired change. So we are preparing the desired change, and then what is happening? Change is happening, implementing the desired change, and ultimately what is refreeze is amplifying the desired change. So that's called the Lewin's model of change. Now, McKinsey's 7 model structure here is strategy, structure, system, shared value, style, staff, and skill. This is called the change McKinsey's 7S model. So I won't go into that details, but we need to like when you are where you are an educator, instructor, or teacher, understand that how these things are affecting you. And if you have a question, do research and do you ask or also get a like a mentor, coach. I remember I had a great coach and mentor, and I always asked what are the things I remember when I was teaching marketing course in Brack University in Bangladesh. I remember I was teaching and I said, let me contact with the author or the role model like Philip Kotler. So when I contacted Philip Kotler and asked, that can I get your like an instructor manual or book writing, and I got it delivered here at Brack University. I remember I contacted the authority of that particular area, marketing guru or marketing models. I contacted Philip Kotler. See, so how writing, you have to get mentor, you have to ask people and see how how use this model as an instructor is very important to learn. The nudge theory, the premise is that nudging here change is more effective than strictly enforcing change. Now there is one of the best thing that I think I'm still on time, I guess. Change management models is Atker change management model focus on people behind the change. So Atker is A means awareness of the need for change. Very important. Emotional intelligence. You have to have an awareness for need for change. The D is the desire to support the change, and K is knowledge of how to change. A is ability to demonstrate skills and behavior, and R is reinforcement to keep the change in place. So this is one of the best model I find, because I'm a change management practitioner. I go through those APMG, the change management practices. So it's very important, and it's very important to learn the process. So when you go through this, and as an educator, as a teacher, an instructor, the whole model here, how the change is affecting you is very good, and you can use this model for your practices. Now, more 3 levels, resistance and change model. We talk about resistance, but here we can see that how the model works here. The first one, we can see that I don't get it. That means I don't understand the purpose of change and how to change. And the other one is says that I don't like it, emotional reaction to change. And then I don't like you, lack of trust and confidence. See how different, right, levels of resistance and change models are there. And accordingly, if you are an administrator, if you are if you want to change, you need to work with your team and see how you can deal with this issue. Like, for example, trust and confidence. I remember when I was working in organizations, I'm very humble, and I learned so many things. Even we learn things from like those who are working as a cleaning professionals, like those who are working for hygiene or cleaning in organizations, or maybe guard, like those who are protecting you. There's so many things that we learn from each other. Any organization, even teacher, I remember we was teaching. We need to, how you develop the team is communication. We talk to people, right? And we don't differentiate. I work with BRAC, one of the largest non-profit organizations in the world, and he's no longer the founder, Abed, Sir Abed. He got title of knightship, Sir Abed. I remember when I was in a lift or the elevator, and he is talking to a person who is operating the elevator, and he's called me Bhai. Bhai means brother. Bhai. So that means there is a good relation. There is a is Abed Bhai. That means that is brother. The person who is just very lowest level of the position of the organizations is called me so everything. He's the brother. So he is the top of the organization, and he is just a simple worker. So I have seen this in my own eyes and see that how person can be humble, right? And this is we can build trust by communications, by giving the importance. It's very important for in this world right now. Factors of our failures in change: not understanding all of the key components, not understanding the importance of change management, lack of strategic alignment. Now, in conclusion, I can say change is inevitable in organizations, and it takes organizations with employees and management who have foresight and proactive to see the need for change and implement as it planned. Now, effective as change management are, it is also tantamount that organizations do not close out uh, other models while focusing on just one change model to implement change. This is so that they do not miss out the crucial advantages of change management models. We have seen a lot of models here. Now, change comes with educations, sensitization, teamwork, learning, and relearning. And this can be a lot of employees and teams to take. So it is important for them to be sensitized and adequately informed before change process begin. So when we're talking about education, I guess it is more on awareness, creating, knowing your rights, knowing what is right, what is wrong, and also, so this is very important. Now, sensitization, culture, developing a culture also is very important. Teamwork, learning, and relearning. So with that, this is some of the reference that we use. Now, before I conclude, I guess I have a few more minutes, but just to share with you that you are a change leader. All of you are a change leader. So this is the right time for you to focus on and see that how you can develop your skill as a change leader. As an individual, you develop a skill as an individual, you develop a skill as your role. If you're instructor, if you're lead. I remember when I was working in an university, I was in charge of the Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Economics, this program in charge. Even in Canada, even in Bangladesh, I remember I worked with that role. So I was in charge of where I was also in charge of hiring instructors. So when you are in charge of something, or you are in leading role, what is your what you need to do? You need to constantly learning, right? And you need to learn for others, and then you do certain tasks. That means that you also use the industry benchmark. So create an organization's change culture, very important. Communicate the organization's mission, values, goals, and strategy. Important to share organization missions, values, goals, and strategy. Make judgments about which change to initiate. Avoid unproductive change. Launch change initiative, which is can be innovation. Understand and attend the human dynamics of change. I learned emotional intelligence. I learned conversational intelligence, how we talk, what to say, what not to say, when to talk, and how to talk, when to stop, when to interrupt. There's so many things that we didn't learn even when I was teaching. I was so there are different roles, as I said: facilitator, trainer, teacher, and then coach. There are different roles. When you are playing different roles, what should be your role at the particular moment of time? So this is very important as a change leader, and I would encourage all of you to be a great change leader. So this is the change leadership framework, the change cycle, information exchange. So intentionally initiative terminations, and capacities, functional, motivational, social, and technical, and implementations, practice, and processes and indicators plan, and productivity is the effectiveness, practice standards, enhancement, actual, and in the execution, how execution happens with mission, values, goals, and strategy. I always remember, right, when we are in organizations, we only need to share the mission, values, goals, and strategy. Organizations is like long lasting when that is executed and that is shared with others. That means that's called a shared goal, shared purpose, shared value, and which is very important for any organization. Even if you are working with a school, colleges, or universities, very important to have that shared mission, shared value, shared strategies, and is important. Now, the final slide that is called change leadership here is accountability and recognition. So when you call the accountability and recognitions, standards and assessment, performance expectations, identification metrics, personal performance evaluations, and recognitions and reward. So to simplify here, this is means you need to have accountable, and there should be an accountability and recognition. If you're doing good, there should be a recognition. On the other side, like support and intervention is diagnostics, technical support, implementations, change in governance, change in personnel. I was given one consultancy assignment to India, one of the school, where I was as a change management practitioner, the board of directors, all the people, those are owners or the board in the school management. So I was a change management practitioners, and I was teaching them. So governance, and I can see that some of the decision making they're doing because of the perspective, they're not doing the right way. So we did a lot of brain storming session, and finally they understood that why they need to have the good governance, and they need to, and then that helped them for good decision making. It was very interesting practices that I did last year. The change management here we can see, I see a differentiated system of recognition, accountability, and support. This is called I see a differentiated system of recognition, accountability, and support. So this is very important. With that, I would like to thank you all for your time, and it was great meeting with you. And I guess almost 100 people are here, 95 people are here. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you'll be a great change leader and learn from others doing great things, and also impact the life of peoples. And an educator, you lighten the people's light, and let's work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed this amazing presentation, and I'm really astonished. I really study a lot from your great presentation. I think our presenters really enjoyed this presentation also. If anybody have any question, you can answer to this presenter, Mr. Edward Mondal. Is there anybody who has any question? Yes, Mr. Ibrahim Ali.
How can improve my life?
How can you improve your life?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Edward, we have one question from.
Please give me, please listen me.
Mr. Edward, we have one question. Mr. Ibrahim Ali is asking you how to improve his life. Maybe he means how to improve his lifestyle.
I am a teacher of Bangladesh. How can improve every student?
Mr. Edward, will you answer to this question? Your
Please
voice is,
answer to the
you
questions.
are muted, please.
How can improve every students of school?
I can't hear anything. I don't know if I'm.
This presenter is asking
Yes,
you how to improve his.
Yes, Mr. Ibrahim Ali from Bangladesh ask to you, how can we develop our student? I think
Yes.
Ibrahim sir, okay.
Okay.
How can we improve our students?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes.
On to listen without Mondol sir.
You have muted yourself, Edward. So yes, yes. Now we can speak, Edward. Edward, is there some technical problem with you?
I write the question in the chat. How to help his students. It's written in the chat, please. Um,
Hello, dear Edward sir. Any problem?
He said he cannot hear anything. He can speak.
I
He
have
cannot
written
hear.
this question into chat.
Okay, so for some reason I can't hear you. I don't know, but
Okay.
if you want
Okay.
anything, any questions, then you can text. You can in chat. I can because I cannot hear anything from anyone. I don't know for some reason.
Okay, dear Ibrahim, we can go continue our webinar, and
Okay,
sometimes
so
later
if
when
there is a question called how can person change his life or student's life? So that's an individual change management perspective. So I would say uh, to an emotional intelligence, just check that things and how you are adapting things, what type of learner you are. So on how you are adapting these changes. So it's very important to do that assessment for you. And then when you are in that situations, that see what are the resources are available for you. So if you need a mentor, go for a mentor. If you need to read certain or available, if you need to get some available resources, you can get those available resources. So it is very important to identify first, do an assessment, and then get resources, get a mentor, get resources, and get chance. And then also ask someone, because I remember I asked someone where see if I did any mistakes or maybe some failure, or if someone criticism, right, criticize positive or constructive criticism. So it's very important to ask someone, so is there anything that I can improve? So in that way, I think gradually improve. But there is a definitely then if you're going through the formal process, go through a coach or mentor. They have a very strategic approach for changes for individuals. Thank you.
thank you so much. We have another question from Abdul Kader. Please. You are muted, Mr. Abdul Kader. Okay, maybe we have no any other question. We can continue our webinar. And the next speaker is PhD in Science Education, Rita Aguilar Gonzalez. And I want to represent some biography about her. She is a Bachelor of Business Administration from the Lance PX Study Center, Teachers Training, teacher of English as a foreign language, Master of Education in the area of teaching and investigation, Master in Didactic and Innovation in English, PhD in Science Education, several certifications from connoisseur, evaluator, as well as diplomas, courses, and certifications in the educational, technological, and English areas. It's really interesting for me. I'm waiting her speech. The floor is yours, Mrs. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I will make it very, very fast because I mean, we're out of time. So I just want to make final comments about what we just heard from this specialist. Very interesting speakers, very interesting webinar. And I think it's very important to know and to be present at these changes that we are having in the world. And it's not only, even if the webinar has a title for changing management practices, it doesn't mean that it has to do with a company. It doesn't have to do with work. This means that we have to change in the whole world, in all our life, in our personal life, in our family life, in our work life. So I will summarize what we just heard. That I think I don't have much to speak because we heard everything, but I will remind a little bit. I think that our message, the message that we receive from our speakers is very important for us to take a little glance of what is happening in the world, what is happening in our life, to see how we could change, to see, right, to observe the things that we need to change in our life. Yes, and we had great ideas to change, to make our world successful. If we want to succeed in life, we need to change because we are living day by day changes in our world. Our speaker, Van Erik Tandok, told us that when we need a change, we have to be alert if there is an implementation of new technology, if there are mergers and acquisitions, if there is a change in leadership, if there is a change in organization, if there is time of crisis. So those are maybe those alerts, yes, that we have to observe to know that we have to change something. Edward Mandel told us that there is individual and organization's perspective to be able to change. And he gave us some examples of what we could change. Yes, he said that maybe good leadership, a close relationship, maybe low stress, clear objectives, training and teaching. Yes, this, I mean, when he spoke about training and teaching, maybe since I'm a teacher, that's where, I mean, I said, oh my God, this is the most important thing, because we know that students are our world future. And if we don't make a change in the way we teach, if we don't make the change in the way we learn, then we won't get anywhere. He said something that sounds like a tongue twister, right? We have to learn how to unlearn to learn new ways. So this is very important for us in everything. If we don't take away all those bad behaviors, all those bad learning strategies that we had from the past, we are not able to learn new ideas. We're not able to learn new methods to change for better, to change to succeed. And he said that some reasons to change, well, maybe would be the change in government policies, change in market demands. Yes, those are two important parts to look after to change. And he also explained some models that maybe we don't have so much time. He didn't have so much time to explain very careful, even every point. But I think it's very important for us to investigate them and to learn about them. He talked about the McKinsey 7S model for a change, as a change model. And those 7 S's are strategy, structure, system, shared values, style, staff, and skills. And another important model that he mentioned was the ADKAR model for change, which is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. And if we can, he also mentioned that we can change if there is an obstacle in our life. The 3 obstacles that are very important: that I don't want to change, I don't like to change, and I don't like you. That's why I'm not going to change. So I think that today's webinar was very important for all of us in every aspect of our life. I hope that all of you enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me telling you the last remarks, summarizing this whole webinar. Thank you very much and hope to see you very soon. Good morning here from Mexico.
Thank you so much for your so interesting presentation, interesting speech. I'm really interested in. We have studied from this webinar a lot. Thanks to everyone, and our webinar is near to finish. And I want to thank you that you had a really good time for us. And thank you to everyone.
Okay, thank you, dear our moderator. Just I have seen that Hussein Alam from Poland, our newly elected global community leader, joined with us. Just dear brother, you can say something within short time. We are in last time to end. Okay, dear brother.
Okay, thank you very much. Very lovely to join this event. I think everybody learned something, and I want to learn something from here. So from the last speaker, before the last speaker, what I find out, someone want to change the life. Actually, what do you want to change? I want to ask few things, because in the world, they have so many issues. If we talk about at the moment, 1.7 million people, they are living bottom of this pyramid area because of the pandemic. So how we can change their life? If we talk about change, someone talk about this model, the 7S. So actually we want to change the model, or we want to change the economic system. What do we want to change? So my question goes to the speaker, if you want to explain, like we want to economical change or life change. If you want to change the life change, so what kind of change we can do for those people who live in bottom of this pyramid area? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, dear brother. Just our today's honorable two speaker, not now with us. They are noticed me. They will go to leave now. Okay, just now, dear consultant, please, I am sorry to say, now after 5 minutes, our today's meeting automatically end. So I had another schedule in Zoom, in this same Zoom. So there are no advantage to give time to anyone. Just I want to say, I would like to request to both of thanks our today's our global coordinator of Global Education Network. She is from Romania, our great leader. Please, over to you. You can both of thanks to all. Okay.
Thank you so much. Hello to everyone. Related to the question of Mr. Hussein, I would like to say just that instead of ask others to change something, let's change ourselves first. So with that, I would like, please mute yourself. Thank you. I would like to say thank you to our honorable guests of today, two remarkable speakers. We can see them everywhere in most of the conferences. I would like to say a big thank you to our sweet and lovely Lika Baishvili from Georgia. Thank you for a great moderation. And thank you, Rita Aguilar from Mexico for closing remarks of the session. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
And I hope you fill the attendance form, and we'll see you again. Thank you.
Just I have request to all. We have put our attendance link in this chat. Please fill this form if you want to get certificate. After 5 minutes, we will close our this form. Okay. Without fill Google Forms or attendance link, we cannot give anyone certificate. Okay. Thanks to all. Thanks to all our.
Thank you, dear Mohiddin sir. Today's session is very interesting. We are observation and we can take some picture and their award.
Okay, thank you. Just I want to say
our trainer a very important issue, how to change our own activities and other activities. We are very happy to join this session. Next time we will arrange this seminar at this seminar. In this seminar, we'll be happy and we'll learn more. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Just I want to invite tomorrow. Just tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. in Indian time. We will meet with you our Delta training session 2. Okay.